$35 worth of free questions on how to get a mining job. Conversations about mining. Hi, Jess. How are you?
Yeah, great, Andrew. How are you going?
Yeah, really good. Thanks. Nice and hot here in Perth.
Oh, beautiful. We're freezing down here.
I know it's
We've got
crazy,
the
isn't it?
fire
And
on.
yeah, apparently it's going to be 22 degrees on Sunday. So we're going to go from 40 to 22 in 2 days. So yeah,
It's
great,
just
great weather for getting
bizarre.
a
You just
cold.
can't. I know. And just put your winter blankets away, take them back out.
Yeah, I know it's nuts.
Oh,
Anyway,
can't
so
keep up with
you
it.
have you've got some questions that got sent through to you about getting into the mining industry that you want to ask.
I do. I have a great question actually, and the main part, of the crux of it is where are all the jobs at the moment? As we get emails every single day and messages on Messenger and calls about where are all the jobs? I'm applying for shutdown work. I've gone and done 20 tickets and I'm looking for a job as a trade assistant. I'm looking for dump truck traineeships. Where is all the work at the moment? Where are the jobs?
Okay, so you need to people need to understand what's happened to the industry in the last 12 months. So we've gone from a situation where everything was booming to a situation where half of the industry's gone bust and half of the industry's still booming. So like your lithium
Hmm.
and your nickel and your coal and even your iron ore to a certain extent because of automation, as far as jobs go, they've all gone bust. What's still going
Yep,
gangbusters and in boom is gold and copper. So gold went over $4,200 an ounce Australian this morning. Copper's still over
yep,
$14,000 a ton Australian. At those prices, everybody's making money hand over fist. And so instead of looking at a particular area to get into, you sort of need to be looking at a particular mineral to get into. So you need to be hitting up the gold and the copper mines and everything associated to it.
yep.
I actually saw a article in the Kalgoorlie Miner this morning about they're having some problems with exploration work. Not in the gold and the
Really?
copper side of things, that's still going gangbusters, but everybody's pulled their stuff for nickel and lithium because of the price drop.
Hmm.
So that
Yep,
again, it's a bit like what's happened to shutdown work. That because of the jobs halving, there's an oversupply of people, unfortunately. But where there's
yep,
still lots of work are in the hard rock underground gold and copper mines. And you just have to type
yep,
underground into Seek to see all those jobs come up. There's lots all over the
yep,
country, and everybody is having to hire inexperienced people. Nobody wants to because it costs them a lot of time and money, and they go through a lot of people. But yeah,
mm,
everybody's got to. They've got no choice.
yep. Awesome. And what kind of training do I need at the moment to get a job? Obviously, like I mentioned, lots of people are being told to go and get, lots of tickets and do this and do that and do these courses with this company and do that. What do you actually need to do to get a job right now?
Well, so if you look at the underground jobs that we're talking about, you just need a manual car license, a 1 day working at heights, and a senior first aid to get a job like that, and mining knowledge. And that's where our training comes
Hmm.
into it. When you can talk
Yep,
to them about refuge chambers and cap lamp signals and stench gas and what a heading and what a stope is, it puts you 6 to 8 weeks ahead of everybody else that they're interviewing for those jobs. And when you're trying
yep,
to get into mining, especially on the entry level end of things, the employer looking at you and going, yes, I can get this person up to speed in 3 to 4 weeks instead of 2 to 3 months, that makes a huge
yep,
difference to whether you're going to get a job or not. Because
yeah,
everybody needs bums in seats at the moment, but what they really need is unsupervised bums in seats. They need people that they
yep,
can just give a plod to at the start of the day and go and drive old truck number 42 and get me 10 loads out for the day. That's what they want and
yep,
that's what they need. If you need somebody to sit beside you for 2 months before you can get it, then chances of you are making it are going to be pretty slim, unfortunately, unless you're well
yep,
liked on site. So it just is
yep.
what it is in regards to that.
And the other question that we've had is, will I have to move to get an entry level job?
Well, yeah, again, sort of 12 months ago, you didn't because there were jobs everywhere and they were flying people around the country left, right, and center. Now that, it's halved and you're just looking at the gold and the copper mines, you pretty much have to jump through a hoop to get through into those entry level jobs. And
Yep,
a lot of the mine sites, as part of jumping through the hoop, they want you to relocate to the area that the mine's located in. So a lot of people
yep,
come over to Perth to get a job. A lot of people go to Kalgoorlie, Mount Isa. Middle of New South Wales is really good. Orange, Dubbo, Parks, Cobar. There's all
yep,
big mines around those areas, all screaming for people at the moment that know how it all
yep.
works.
Cool. And how competitive is it at the moment for the entry level jobs that are out there?
It's pretty competitive at the moment because the pool of those entry level jobs has shrunk because the other areas aren't taking people. But you are still ahead of the game at the moment because the media hasn't picked up where the jobs are. I
Yeah,
would suspect that in the next sort of 2 to 3 months, the media will get their head around the fact that gold's $4,200 an ounce Australian, and there's lots of jobs going in gold mines, which you don't see stories about. At the moment, you're seeing stories about how there aren't any jobs in lithium mines or nickel mines, or how iron ore's
yeah,
gone driverless and all the jobs have gone and all that sort of stuff, which is all true,
yeah,
but they're not doing any stories about where they need entry level people. And that is in gold
yeah.
mines around the country. Everybody needs people.
And if you were entering the industry right now, knowing what you know, what would you do? How would you get a job if you were starting again and you were going to jump back in and be on site again?
Oh, 100%. I'd do one of the training packages that we've got. I'd educate myself, but I'd spend a bit of time and learn the information because the more you know and the more you can talk about it and the easier you can talk about it with. So the more you understand it, the easier it is for them to say yes because they can just throw you in the deep end. And then I'd
Yeah,
head to a hot spot. I'd head to a hub. Like I said before, Kalgoorlie's probably the best place to go. There'd be 50 mines within 100 k's of the place, all screaming for people,
yeah.
and that's ironically what I did the first time. I got a job in Sydney, but I had to go to Kalgoorlie. Yeah, I met a guy in Sydney that offered me a job. Can't tell the official story because, yeah, it doesn't go down. It hasn't aged well. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, and it's just a matter of going and showing up. And one of the reasons why they want you in Perth at the moment is because they used to medical people in the eastern states and do all that sort of stuff in the eastern states. And unfortunately, and give people jobs from the eastern states, but unfortunately, they had a whole lot of people not show up. So now they
Yeah.
pretty much want you standing in front of them before they'll give you the
Mm-hmm.
job and do that. But once your 6 months is up, this is where I try to explain to people for that first 6 months where, you pretty much got to do everything that they want you to do and jump through all the hoops and all that sort of stuff. But as soon as you've got 6 months and 1 day experience up, you can go to any mine around the country and they'll take you on in a heartbeat. So then you can
Yeah.
look for your fly in, fly out job. But I'm constantly surprised how many people end up in Mount Isa and places around that, weren't fly in, fly out. But as soon as they make it past their 6 month mark, all of a sudden the job magically turns into a fly in, fly out job for them. So they keep them.
Yeah.
So that sort of stuff
Yeah.
happens as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had friends do that as well, and like clients as well that have gone to Kalgoorlie, just made the jump, turned up there off a plane, got a job, toughed it out for 6 months and flown home when they could, and then said, right, okay, you can give me a FIFO job from here, or I'm going to go find something closer to home. And now they're flying out of Brisbane and all sorts of other places.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happens. But if you're expecting to
Yeah.
get that sort of treatment from day one, yeah, think
Hmm.
again. And the other thing that frustrates me as well is when people approach me telling me that they've got a lot of operating machinery experience, like that's going to translate into somehow the skills down the hole to do the job, where, it's not. It's a very frustrating thing to say, and it never goes over well with the foremans because they're
Mm-mm.
like, you can teach somebody how to drive one of those underground trucks in a couple of weeks. Nobody fails at
Yeah.
that. Everybody passes at that. What they all fail at is being left by themselves to get on with it. And I've seen so
Yeah.
many guys that have got operating, like they're really good operators and got 20 years operating experience that just couldn't get their head around how the mine works. So they didn't end up with a job, unfortunately. It just
Yeah.
is what it is. So that's why I hark
Yeah.
back to the training. The more you know before you go, the easier it's going to be for everybody, you and the crew included. And if you make it easy for the crew, they'll make it easy for you.
Definitely. And that's kind of, I guess, the other side that we're always talking about is your mindset. You need to go in there really focused about why you're there and what your goals are and what you're doing. And you just need to focus on your job. Don't worry about being everybody's best friend. Do your job, get in there, be friendly, be courteous. Like, obviously don't be rude to people, but just, it can take some time. Like Andrew said, the failure rate is so high. You think these crews of like men and women that are working together in these sites, a lot of them have been there a long time and they're having people come and go all the time. So they do, sometimes they can take a bit to warm up to you because they're like, oh, another one. So
Exactly,
just don't
exactly.
be that, you don't be that other one. Like do the training, educate yourself, and actually have some longevity in the
Yep,
job.
yep, definitely. Back in the day, they used to run a book on how long people used to last. and they're not allowed to do that
Yeah.
anymore. But, that's how quickly people used to go through. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it still happens all the time. Like you hear it all the time, all the time. I
Yeah.
tried it, I lasted a month, or I lasted a day, or, or I went underground and I cried and I left. It
And that's the
happens all
other
the
good thing
time.
about the training and why it's worth spending the $495 is because you're going to learn whether you want to do it or not. It teaches you the
Yeah.
good stuff and the bad stuff. If you do the
Yeah.
training and you still want to do it, then you've got all the tools you need to go and get a job. And yeah, it's easy enough to do after you do that. But yeah, but
Yeah.
you've got to want to do it, and you've got to follow the instructions and go go go.
And you've actually got to do the training too. Like it's all great if we've had a few people that have just paid for the package, we've done their resume, they've paid for the training, they've done their call with Andrew, and everything's been great, but they haven't actually done the course and they've bombed their interviews, or they've got to site and had no idea what they're doing and still hated it and failed. You actually have to do the training.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's not a magic resume, no matter how many people tell you.
No.
The resume serves its purpose. It gets you noticed, but you still have to do the interview and convince them to give you the job. And the easiest way to do
Yeah.
that is to talk their language to them, because that's
Yeah.
what everybody struggles with. Everybody struggles with learning how it all works. If you can show them that
Yeah.
you've already done that for them, you've just changed the goalpost significantly.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. So if anybody else has got any $35 questions that they'd like asked, please send them through and I'll get Jess to ask them. But if you could share this video around and like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.
Thank you.